flashbang is incoming. Unblockable light mode. Alright, so in my last video, this one about the +11 knockdown tech, there was one part of that video where I mentioned that to do the setup requires you to find which of your light attacks do the most hit stun. And I kind of showed an in-game way of checking that using trial and error. But what if you don't have time to check all this stuff? What if you guys wanted all the useful tech easily and efficiently served directly into your mouth? Well, today I'm going to teach you guys how to make the most out of FAT. Before we start though, please remember to hit that subscribe button up there. It really helps me out, and let's get into the video. So, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this is FAT. FAT is a website that has been in development and regularly maintained for a very, very long time. It stands for Frame Assist Tool. This website has been my Bible when it comes to checking all of the numbers, all of the data, all of the technical stuff going on behind the scenes in fighting games. And today, I'm going to teach you guys about all the cool things you can do with FAT that you might not know about, because this is so much more than just a frame data spreadsheet. A lot of people will see this and go, oh, it's just frame data, what's the big deal? There is so much more to this website. I think so few people are taking advantage of. Cool feature number one, it has a dark mode, so we're not being flashbanged anymore. Alright, so first thing is, you might have noticed I said fighting games. And that's because FAT isn't just for Street Fighters. So if you are looking for a useful resource for a bunch of games, there is a game select option in the top left here, and you can get all the data you want for Street Fighter 6, Street Fighter 5, Ultra Street Fighter 4, Third Strike, Guilty Gear Strive, and 2XKO. So there is a huge amount of coverage here. It's not just a Street Fighter 6 resource. So I guess initially you'll look at it and go, okay, this looks like a standard frame data spreadsheet. So we've got all the moves here: startup, active recovery, on hit advantage, on block advantage, the standard stuff that you would expect of most frame data resources. But there's a lot more here to dive into. So one thing you may not know is that if you actually select a move, it will give you a ton of additional information, like a deep dive into that move. And the stuff that I find really useful is usually at the bottom here, there's like an extra information box, which includes little bits of information about like unique properties of a move, things you might not know. And a lot of this is really useful. So for example, so this is Dhalsim's light kick slide. And you guys may not know, and I only know about this because I saw it on FAT one day, Dhalsim's light kick slide has a low profile hurt box on frame 2. Which is very unusual. There are almost no moves in this game which will low profile that early into startup. And I realized that as a result of Dhalsim's crouch light kick being low profile so quickly, it lets him do this. So you might know that Aki has very good burnout pressure. And one example of Aki's burnout strings is this. She can do crouch jab, stand medium punch a bunch of times. And this is a frame trap in both directions. So stand medium punch to crouch jab is a frame trap, and crouch jab to stand medium punch is also a frame trap. So there are no normals in the game that can interrupt this string, except crouch light kick low profiles extremely early, and that lets Dhalsim do this. See? So because he gets low profile so early into his crouch light kick, he can actually low profile the startup of Aki's stand medium punch. This is the only normal, as far as I know, in the entire game that can interrupt this string. So another thing about this website that you may not be aware of is that you can actually customize almost everything about the data that you see. And another really useful example is, so if you press the 3 dots in the top right hand corner and go to data columns, you can add or remove whatever columns you want to make the data more easier to read for whatever you're doing. And one example is right down at the bottom here, you can actually add hit stun data. There is an option for hit stun, which is not the same as advantage. So if we add hit stun, you can now see over on the right hand side here, we now have a hit stun list for all the normals. And this would have been very useful for my last video when I was talking about how you can find the light normals that have the highest hit stun. Well, you can just look here. So we can see that like Dhalsim's stand light punch has 15 frames of hit stun. his light slide has 18 frames of hit stun. Another one that you might not know about is they also have juggle information here. So you can also add and remove juggle numbers. So if you have no idea how the juggle system works, this is also a useful resource. You can add the juggle data for normals. You can also, as you may have noticed, there are toggles in the top right-hand corner for like counter hit advantage, drive rush advantage, burnout advantage. You can add and remove these. Oh yeah, you can also, under table settings, there is also an option to toggle move names, and this is also a useful thing because there are lots of moves in Street Fighter which are known by a sort of community name, but that's not the move's actual name. So if you're confused when someone says like Sobat, for example, with Guile, you can see that it's listed as Sobat Kick as the common name, but you can also switch to the proper move names here, like this, where it's actually rolling Sobat, or you can switch to a completely input-based system. So you can see that it's now forward medium kick over here. So whether you think in terms of move names or move inputs, you can customize it to your heart's content. So that's like the basic frame stuff, but now I'm going to show you guys the really useful tools that also exist in FAT that, like I said, I feel like people do not take advantage of this stuff. So if you look over on the left-hand side in this expandable side panel, right, there is a bunch of extra options underneath the frame data. And these are all really cool and they deserve so much more usage than they get. So, for example, you've got a basic move list, which is fine. And then you've got combos and tech. And this is a huge list of B&Bs for every single character in the game. And not only does it give you a full B&B list for every single character, it also tells you exactly how much damage these combos do, how much drive gauge they use, how much super gauge they use, like common starters from Drive Rush, common starters from a DI, lights, mediums, heavies. You've got a huge list of combos here to get you started. They also come with extra notes. You might see there's like the I button on the right. So if there's like some condition where the combo doesn't work or like it only works from certain distance, it will also tell you that. You've also got stat compare on the left-hand side here. And this is a huge, very useful way of comparing a bunch of character statistics in a way that is really visually accessible. So for example, you can see here, this is character health values. You've got things like fastest normal, which in this case, Street Fighter 6 doesn't really apply to this because Street Fighter 6, every character has a 4-frame normal. But in a game like Street Fighter 5, this is a very useful resource. So you can see who are the 3-frame and who are the 4-frame havers. Ranking characters by drive rush distance, forward dash speed, back walk speed. This is jump frames. This is also a useful thing to know. So for example, if you've ever wondered why some characters need different frame advantage to get a safe jump, this is why. Because not all characters have the same amount of frames in their jump. We've also got the calculators, and these are really cool. So on the left-hand side, you see calculators. So we've got things like a frame trap checker. So you can check the gap between two moves on block to see if they're a true frame trap or if you can interrupt them. So like if Juri, for example, does stand light punch into stand medium kick, there is a gap of 7 frames. So you can interrupt that with a 7-frame move. This is probably my favorite one. This is the frame kill generator. And what this does is you tell it what move you got a knockdown with and what you want to meaty with. And it will generate you a frame kill for that meaty. So for example, let's say with Juri, I land a punish counter sweep, for example. So crouch heavy kick on punish counter. And what's a good normal to meaty? Let's say stand medium punch because that's her main sort of pressure normal. So we go stand medium punch and it instantly tells us that we get a 3rd active frame meaty after a crouch heavy kick by doing back heavy kick in the gap into stand medium punch right there. So let's just confirm that in game. There you go. So I didn't have to spend all this time doing trial and error trying to figure out what was a meaty and what wasn't. I just plugged the numbers in. It does all the hard work. That's really cool. It's one of my favorite features of this website. One of the ones that I really like, if you're looking for things to test with this, by the way, is that as well as having an option for meaties, it also has safe jumps as an option. So rather than selecting a normal as your meaty, you can actually press safe jump and it will try and find you a frame kill to give you a safe jump off that knockdown. Now, there isn't one for Juri's crouch heavy kick, but But if we switch to something else, so for example here, the thing about Aki is that her heavy poison whip doesn't actually require a frame kill, but if I put heavy whip and I put target meaty safe jump, it does tell me that I can literally just do heavy whip and then instantly safe jump, and it's auto-timed. There's also these ones, the move punisher and character punisher. So if you are struggling to figure out how to deal with a certain move or how to punish it, you can also do that here. So let's say I'm being attacked by Guile and he is spamming Sobat Kick. I get a full list instantly of all of Aki's normals that can punish it and how tight the punish is. So like some of them are 1 frame punishes, 2 frame punishes, 3 frame punishes. And also this one, character punisher. This is the same thing again in reverse. So if I select Aki's stand medium punch, it tells me all of Guile's moves that I can punish theoretically with stand medium punch and how tight the punish is. Whether you can do it instantly or you can delay it a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot here. There's a move linker, there's a string interrupter. There's basically tools for everything you could think of here, pretty much. I won't go through every single one of them. There is also, under more resources, there's some links to things like the wiki. There are some links to some discords. There's some useful community resources in here. Honestly, there is an insane amount of information in FAT, and the work that goes into maintaining and updating this website is insane. If you guys want to show some support, then please throw some money their way. There's some links at the bottom here for like Patreon and PayPal and stuff. They also have an app. So if you want to have it on the go, if you're at like a tournament or something, you can also download the app. And I just think it's really cool. And I think these guys do great work for the community, and I wanted to kind of shine a spotlight on it, you know? Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next video.